The arena's crimson sand had drunk the blood of 17 species' greatest warriors. Each had come with weapons forged from dying stars, armor blessed by ancient gods, and hearts full of conquest. Each had fallen to the same creature that now prowled the circular pit like liquid shadow made flesh. Ambassador Kethvar adjusted his ceremonial robes and tried not to let his 4 eyes betray his growing desperation. The Galactic Council's ultimatum echoed in his mind. Tame the Warbeast, or watch his homeworld burn. The creature had been a gift from the hegemony, a test disguised as diplomacy. Fail, and Kethavar's people would be deemed unworthy of independence. The Warbeast stood 12 feet at its crystalline shoulders, its obsidian hide rippling with bioluminescent scars that told stories of 1,000 battles. 6 legs ended in claws that could rend titanium, while its elongated skull housed rows of teeth like molecular blades. Most unsettling were its eyes, ancient, intelligent, and utterly without mercy. "Perhaps we should try the Zenthari pain inducers again," suggested General Vexok, his mandibles clicking nervously. Kethvar's primary arms drooped. "We've tried everything. Neural dampeners, pheromone manipulation, harmonic frequencies, even the ethereal's mind-melding techniques. It killed the mind-meld specialist before the connection could fully form." In the viewing gallery above, delegates from dozens of worlds watched with barely concealed anticipation. The hegemony's representatives sat in the place of honor, their insectoid faces unreadable but somehow conveying smug satisfaction. They had orchestrated this moment perfectly, offering the humans' newest protectorate an impossible task as the price of freedom. That's when the small delegation from Earth arrived. Kethvar had met humans before, of course. The young species had burst onto the galactic stage with typical mammalian enthusiasm, all chaotic energy, and stubborn optimism. They were decent enough allies, though their tendency to anthropomorphize everything could be exhausting. But what was their ambassador doing here? This was Kethavar's trial, not theirs. Ambassador Sarah Chen approached with measured steps, her simple gray uniform contrasting sharply with the ornate garments of other species. Beside her walked a small human, a child by their species' standards, perhaps 8 or 9 standard years old. The boy had dark hair and eyes that seemed far too calm for someone witnessing his first interstellar political crisis. "Ambassador Kethvar," Chen said, offering the traditional Altarian greeting gesture. "We came as soon as we heard. This is my son, David." "I appreciate the gesture, Sarah, but this is not a place for younglings. The Warbeast has killed 17 warriors, yes." The human child spoke for the first time, his voice carrying an odd certainty. "May I see it?" Kethvar's translator unit flickered, uncertain how to process the boy's tone. There was no fear there, no excitement, just a quiet kind of knowing that made the ambassador's skin crawl. "David has a gift," Chen explained simply. "He's been around animals his whole life, our species. We have a different relationship with other creatures than most." In the arena below, the Warbeast had begun its restless pacing again. Its bioluminescent scars pulsed in patterns that xenobiologists had been trying to decode for cycles. Some theorized it was a form of communication, others believed it was simply autonomic response to stress. The creature's previous owners, the now extinct Korthak Empire, had taken their secrets to the grave. "The Korthak were wrong about it," David said quietly, watching the beast through the reinforced viewing portal. It's not angry. It's lonely. Several delegates turned to stare at the human child. General Vexok's mandibles clicked faster, a sign of agitation among his species. Lonely? Kethvar asked. Child, that creature has torn apart everything we've put in the arena with it. How can you possibly— Because it's the last one, David interrupted. Look at the patterns on its hide. They're not battle scars. They're like a book, a history, and it's writing the same story over and over because there's no one left who can read it. The arena fell silent except for the soft sound of the Warbeast's claws against sand. Above them, the hegemony delegates shifted uncomfortably. This was not proceeding according to their plan. You wish to enter the arena? Kethvar asked, though the words felt like ash in his mouth. The idea of allowing a child to face the creature seemed monstrous. Just to the barrier, David said. I won't go inside, I promise. Against every instinct screaming in his head, Kethvar found himself nodding. Perhaps it was desperation, or perhaps something in the boy's manner reminded him of his own species. Youngest shamans, those few individuals who could speak to the sacred creatures of Altair's deep forests. They descended to the arena level, where thick energy barriers separated the spectator areas from the Warbeast's domain. David approached the shimmering wall of force and pressed his small hands against it. The Warbeast noticed immediately, abandoning its pacing to study this new observer. For long moments, child and creature regarded each other. The Warbeast's bioluminescent scars shifted to a pattern none of the xenobiologists had recorded before. Slower, more rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat made visible. Then David opened his mouth and spoke a single word. It wasn't in standard Galactic, or any human language. The sound that emerged was something between a growl and a song, carrying harmonics that seemed impossible for a mammalian throat to produce. Later analysis would reveal it was an approximation of ancient Korthak, though how the child could have known that language remained a mystery. The word was brother. The effect was instantaneous. The Warbeast's aggressive posture melted away like ice under a summer sun. Its massive head lowered until it was level with David's hands on the barrier. The bioluminescent patterns shifted again, becoming something that looked almost like recognition, joy, relief. It's been trying to tell everyone, David whispered. All this time it's been asking the same question. Why did you leave me behind? In the stunned silence that followed, David turned to face the assembled delegates. It doesn't need to be tamed. It needs to be understood. The Korthak didn't breed them as weapons. They were companions, partners. This one was left behind. When its people died, and it's been waiting for someone to come back for it ever since. Ambassador Chen stepped forward, her diplomatic training finally catching up to the situation. We formally request guardianship of the creature under interstellar wildlife protection protocols. Clearly, this being requires specialized care that only our species seems capable of providing. The hegemony delegate rose to object, but the damage was done. Across the gallery, representatives from dozens of worlds were murmuring among themselves. Several were already accessing their communication devices, no doubt reporting this development to their homeworlds. The humans had just demonstrated something unprecedented, not the ability to dominate or control, but the capacity to understand and heal. General Vexok was the first to speak. The trial is complete. If the humans can guarantee the creature's peaceful integration, I see no reason to continue these proceedings. Kethvar felt his breathing organs expand with relief. Agreed. The Warbeast is pacified. Not pacified, David corrected gently. Adopted. As the energy barriers powered down and human xenobiologists began coordinating with their galactic counterparts for the Warbeast's transfer, Ambassador Chen placed a hand on her son's shoulder. "How did you know?" she asked quietly. David shrugged, still watching the massive creature that now waited patiently like an enormous alien dog. "Everything wants to belong somewhere, Mom. Humans aren't the only ones who get lonely." In the years that followed, the Warbeast, renamed Echo by David, became something of a galactic celebrity. It lived on a human sanctuary world where it helped train interspecies diplomats, teaching them to recognize the emotional needs that transcended species barriers. The hegemony never again tried to use impossible creatures as tests of worthiness. But perhaps more importantly, the incident sparked a revolution in xenobiology. The realization that many species classified as monsters might simply be misunderstood beings in pain led to breakthroughs in interspecies communication that transformed galactic society, and at the center of it all was the simple truth that a human child had recognized. Sometimes the most fearsome appearances hide the most vulnerable hearts. In a galaxy full of warriors and conquerors, it took a species young enough to still believe in friendship to show everyone else what true strength looked like, the strength to say brother to a stranger and mean it.